Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, respected faculty members, and honorable guests, Assalamu alaikum. We have been studying the subject of public relations advertising workshop throughout the semester. But before the middle of the semester, you may say mid-exam, we have discussed the various aspects of advertising. We have discussed different aspects television commercials, radio commercials, and different techniques of making advertising. But after the mid of the semester, we started the portion of public relations as it was included in our syllabus. So we started public relations by going through an overview of public relations field. Then we tried to learn the different writing techniques in public relations. Now, it's a very important topic which we have to cover, and that is entitled How to Launch a PR Campaign. But we tried started to learn as the international PR campaign. So today's session is how to launch an international public relations campaign. For this purpose, we have invited our colleague, our teacher, practitioner, professional, and lecturer of advertising and public relations. Olga Novoselova has been invited from Yekaterinburg, Russia. She has been associated with Ural Federal University, and I'm proud to be a student of her because she was my teacher when I was a student of master's level and I was trying to study public relations and advertising. Ms. Olga Novoselova has been associated with different PR firms and she's a PR expert, and currently she's serving as a PR specialist and pursuing a PhD program in Hungary. So let's welcome her, Olga Novoselova. Olga, доброе утро.
Доброе утро. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you for introducing. So I suppose I will share my screen. Okay. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, it is okay.
So if you don't mind, I will not make it on full screen because I have several presentations, so just will switch from one to another to show different case studies. So since I've been involved during 15 years in international PR work concerning to education, developing different international strategies for university, and after that I was really engaged in international PR, and today I would like you to tell some information about this issue. Of course, it will be not so deep, but in brief. Without some little bit theoretical understanding, it's difficult to explain case studies. So that's why I will do it in a combination of telling information and give case studies to make it clear how it works. First of all, I would like to pay attention to understanding what it is international public relations, due to the fact that during my experience, people have misunderstanding of it. So that's why I would like to stress that international public relation means that you do it somewhere else with the audience different from you cultural, linguistically, and geographically. That's why I would like to mention that if you are organizing a conference in your native country and just invite couple or just 3 international experts to your country, it is not international PR. It's not international PR campaign. Why? Because everything is the same. You use the same media, you use the same technique, the same characteristic, the same culture, and just some international representatives who in fact should follow your culture because they are coming to your country and they are guests. So in this case, it is not international public relations. And when you launch promotion, you are not doing international PR campaign, you are doing still national one because it's still on your motherland. And how finally international PR campaign look like? So it is at least the combination of two countries, country A and country B. And the space between these two countries, it is exactly international PR space where you have to pay attention to some additional issues which you need to take into account. And by now, this scheme is a little bit, we can say after coronavirus, this scheme is a little bit old scheme because these digitalization couple years, I suppose, changed everything, and international PR campaign nowadays not only easy to do, but they are obvious. And those who are going to understand it and be engaged in it now will succeed it more than those who will start it later. So, and there are different schemes which you can use to connect with the country. Of course, all these schemes depends on money. Depends on a company, or maybe you want to promote your brand. Yes, you are an expert and you want to be international one. That's why you just may choose what kind of scheme to use. The traditional one, since multinational corporations were the first companies following to other countries and opening their subsidiaries in other countries, they used such type of schemes. So they could address to international PR agency, which was connected with another in country B. But can you imagine how much money you need in this case, right? So the easier one, it is organization. It could be not that big, but still you need enough money, contact with local PR agency, and this PR agency at the same time will get in touch, develop different strategies for contacting with publics, different types of publics. However, with the growth of digitalization, all this coronavirus situation, even education you see nowadays is totally online. And I can tell you from Hungary, just about international public relation for you who are in Pakistan. This model is the most spreading nowadays, and it could be an organization, it could be you as a celebrity or as an expert, and you can contact publics, different publics due to internet and social media. However, you should pay attention to some issues which we will talk about later. To make international PR campaign is not something new. It follows the same algorithm. Traditionally, and the first algorithm which was acknowledged by all countries, it is a race. Race consists of 4 stages. It is research. So first of all, you understand the background, of your target audience, you understand the issue which you want to raise. Then action, communication, and evaluation. However, to make international public relations, these 4 stages not enough, because on some stage you need to pay attention to something additional, since it is totally other country, another habits, another regimes, everything is another. And when, if we look at these 4 stages, when to think about another country. So therefore, Professor Georgi, he provided 6 basic questions which you can follow, and it will guide you in a more detailed development of international PR campaign. They are pretty similar, but just more exact. It's the same, the research, of course, if you are doing the campaign, for example, in Africa, for example, you are non-governmental, for example, non-profit organization who is developing the issues concerning some common problems. For example, nowadays, one common problem is coronavirus, right? So you do research also not only the issue, but some situations in Africa. For example, my student from Nigeria, he told that they don't accept this serious situation with coronavirus, the same serious as the whole world. So they suppose it's a kind of like and tricky issue which was spread by some interested parties. So it means this situation, while making the research, is not the same urgent, the same actual as, for example, in other countries. The second, as usual, you identify aims and objectives, and who to communicate, target audience, so content, develop tactics, develop content, tactics, and then you make the evaluation. So when you need to think about international deeply, or to develop your PR campaign, paying attention to international. It is exactly especially important number 4 and number 5, since the content and tactics could be different or could be the same. So here you need to start thinking about international issues and how these international contexts work. There are, so I provided you a kind of graph. So, and you can see that depending on the issue or depending on the company which you are going to do to promote, you can separate the flow based on understanding like human orientation. So it means how you will contact with your target audience. For example, you are representative of the university, and you are interested in promoting your university in, for example, in America, attracting more American professors, students, visitors to your university, just promoting the brand of your university. How it could be? So you should identify, first of all, it could be a kind of educational way. So participation in different educational exhibition in America, as well as you would need to attract some diplomatic relations. And for example, develop any educational like summer camp at your university, which in fact would attract American students for your destination, and it would be like a tourism or travel, educational tourism and travel. As soon as you identified the typology of your project, you identifying the technological orientation. So how you will spread this information. Do you need to use only internet, or you also need to include radio and television, or newspaper and magazines? Everything here technological orientation depends on a characteristic of the country. For example, in America, the percent of people watching TV is really high, and the advertising is really strong in America, and it takes about a long period of time while watching movie. However, if you promote your university in Russia, it's not the same, because television is not that popular. Still, it is watchable, but the advertising is really limited according to some policies, and to spend money for advertising on TV would not be so valuable for you. And at the same time, you are thinking about strategy. Do you need to create a PR campaign the same in America, in Russia, or in Europe, for example, for promoting your university? Or you need to adapt it. So these are approaches which are called standardization and adaptation. So later I will show you cases. Also there are such approaches which are called centralized or decentralized. However, they are, I suppose, minimizing their effects since they were proposed for multinational corporations, and nowadays almost every little company can promote itself worldwide without opening subsidiaries. However, what are these approaches about? So centralization, it means when a parent company is responsible for planning the campaign. So it is developed in one country, and traditionally it is in the way of standardized, in a standardized way. However, any adaptation is still necessary for the country. Or decentralization, for example, it is for big companies who have subsidiaries, and subsidiaries can develop their own PR campaign in the country of their existence. But as I have already mentioned, nowadays even specialists in any area could promote him or herself worldwide, and this centralization, decentralization with a strong development of digitalization is limiting their effects. But you need to think about standardization and adaptation approach. What kind of PR campaign to develop? So I would like you to attract your attention to a really popular, sorry, just I need to go down, a really popular campaign, which is a great example of adaptation standardization strategy, which is called Ice Bucket Challenge campaign. So tell me, please, have you heard about it? Was it also popular in Pakistan?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so this is actually the great example of standardized international PR campaign. And what elements help to make this campaign standardized? First of all, it was one common issue, the disease, which actually similar in every country. Maybe in some countries it is in just big numbers, yeah, but in other countries it is not so spread, but still some cases could be. So, and for developing standardized approaches, of course, non-governmental organizations, they have easier way to do it. So the main idea to raise awareness for, you could see the name of ALC disease. And the main idea was to attract funds, first of all, to attract attention to such disease. It is and increase the funds, yes, donations for preventing or fighting with this disease. And how it was launched? It was launched by one person who have this disease and his family, and was developed a kind of challenge. I suppose you know it, where people do actually the same action. And you could see that for developing this international PR campaign, the activity was chosen unique. So everybody can take basket, everybody can pour the water, and no matter what culture, no matter what political regime, no matter what freedom of speech is, this activity can be done in absolutely any country. And the challenge is that you need to mark any your friend just to call just doing the same activity, and it worked like a snowball in social media. For increasing the number of participation and the publicity of this PR campaign, some influencers first of all, first influencer was attracted from the sport. Why sports? Because it is also one of the issue which is similar for other countries. Sport has logo, sport joins the nations. And first influencers who participated in this challenge were sportsmen. However, then as soon as there was the increase of such campaign, you could see Donald Trump, politicians also started to be involved, but however, this on the one way increased the attention of nations who influencers they are, where influencers they are, but at the same time they increased their own publicity, because there was a speed of participation, and it could also increase the publicity of these influencers at the same time. So, and as a result, there were, so let's look at the timetable, and you could see that the main rise happened at the participation of David Beckham. So David Beckham, first of all, also a sportsman, and at the same time known in different countries, as well as then continued with the other. So therefore, a lot of countries were attracted. So you could see the results and the continents and countries and the increase of their participation. However, since this campaign is international campaign, the message from country to country was lost. For example, in Pakistan, was it lost or not? For example, I saw this campaign from my Thai ex-students from Thailand. They used it as a fun, sending the challenge from friend to friend, try to pour a cold water, a basket of cold water on yourself. And therefore, when I saw this information, I didn't know what's the main idea, that it was connected with the disease, the spread of information concerning this disease, and raising funds. And what about you? While launching this, was it popular in Pakistan?
Yeah, it was popular in Pakistan. I just saw it on Justin Bieber's Instagram account, but I did not know that it was a campaign until now.
Yeah, so you see,
Yeah,
since
I came to know it from you right now. I did not know it was a campaign. I thought it was just for fun.
yeah. So you see, finally, since it is really international, and I suppose unexpectedly for this association, it was international. The message was a little bit lost. So it means in the name of this challenge, there was no any information connected to the real issue concerning to the disease. However, funding was growing. So since all those videos we watched several times, you know, so it's a money, of course, money of internet money, and at the same time, in countries where this association exists, the message was delivered directly. But at the same time, no matter that your international PR campaign became popular, but the message was a little bit blurred in other countries, still it is popular. Some of people can follow and check what it is, what this challenge is about. So for example, as I did, it was interesting, what is the ice bucket challenge, what it is about. And I knew that in fact it is a PR campaign, international PR campaign developed on purpose. So this kind of elements made it possible to make a campaign like similar in all countries. And how finally to make campaign international? Let's see nowadays possible strategies. Since understanding what kind of campaign do you develop based on standardized or adaptive technology, it happens in a way in a connection with media relations. Since PR, it is attracting mass media, social media, talking about you or about your company or about your brand or about your city, for example, in case if you want to promote your city. You are talking about a story, yeah, which should be recognizable, or a kind of creative news. You should think about the structure, the style, how you will write it, and of course, the final, why PR is different from advertising. Advertising, it is obvious sellings. If you buy 3 packages, you will get the 4th for free. Yeah, so it is a direct message buy. But PR, it is hidden message, but in fact, everything leads for profits and money. And nowadays, on my mind, the most, and it will develop even faster, the greatest approaches are influencers. It is influencers approach. So as in a campaign with Ice Bucket Challenge, you could see that it was launched and followed by influencers. But nowadays, influencers are totally different. It's not that important nowadays to attract Donald Trump or David Beckham, who are really expensive, I suppose. Of course, a lot of companies nowadays pay a great attention to social corporate social responsibility. What it is exactly to raise attention to some social issues. But in fact, it is a one way of hidden PR. Bloggers nowadays, the leading position takes bloggers, and you don't need to pay too much attention for a high well-known celebrities, but try to find influencer in that country. For example, in Russia nowadays, even top singers, Russian top singers, celebrities, try to make different projects with bloggers, famous bloggers from TikTok, YouTube, We don't have very highly developed Instagram bloggers, but there are some famous TikTokers and YouTubers. Is TikTok also really famous nowadays in Pakistan?
Yes, it is a lot. It got banned in Pakistan, by the way.
Yeah, so in fact, they take not so much money, but at the same time, the spread of information is greater, in fact, than just to invite a really highly paid celebrities. Then content marketing. It is called marketing because it's a little bit wide. It attracts some issues concerning to digital issues, but in other way you can call it digital PR. And branding journalism also are involved in developing of your brand or your idea of promotion. So let's see what it is. I suppose one of the brightest example, it is Red Bull, which is totally developed on the concept, these three concepts. And you could see totally branded content. If you go to official sites of Red Bull, you will not find any information concerning to Red Bull because they developed a strategy, also international, a kind of standardized strategy connected with sport. And all information concerning to presenting on a site is connected with sport and some food issues. However, if you start checking the ingredients of Red Bull, they are not really healthy for your body. Yeah. And such type of strategy has two actually advantages. First advantage, it is a unique for any country. Unique, every country has sport, and all PR campaigns of Red Bull is mostly devoted to sports. Some maybe untraditional sport, maybe some rare sports, but still it's the same in all countries. As well as the second advantage that actually looking at this sport in its meaning has the issue of health. But looking at different sportsmen, and you can see this brand, you, not only you, but the stakeholders automatically, absolutely unconsciously connect this brand with health. And this is one of the great strategy which brings a lot of money to absolutely one of the similar beverage. For example, if you check other similar beverage but with less high brand, you could see that ingredients are not different. And there is total absence of direct advertising concerning to Red Bull. Everything is hidden. It is one of the greatest example of creative PR campaign and developed brand. What else we can pay attention it is Benetton, which I would like you to look at. Sorry. Okay. I suppose Benetton is also a really great example. Why? Because nowadays, since there are a lot of, it is actually an Italian brand which was developed in 1962, but with these bright PR campaigns which have always international scope, they still exist and still popular and still can follow their mark. When it only appeared, of course, this brand was unique, and they made identification like this is a brand for family, comfort, and brightness. colors. So they they distinguish colors, different bright colors, as a main characteristic of this brand. However, during years, there appeared a lot of other brands, and a lot of other brands were also mentioning the same colors, also family, also comfort, and the brand became just not unique, but one of other similar brands. And in this situation, especially nowadays, when people all over the world read newspaper and everything is about coronavirus, yeah, it's really difficult, but you as a PR manager still need to tell about your company, about yourself, still need to attract attention, how to do in such situation. And now it is especially popular, which is called, I call it hype. Yeah, so a developing PR campaign which would be different by some arguing, I don't know, some those questions. So in Benetton nowadays, it's one company which is exactly trying to develop that itself as a, no, maybe in some ways scandal. Yeah, you could see nowadays to show colors, they do it in two ways. They totally devote their PR campaigns to global issues like disease, racism, religion, which is the questions unique in all other countries. And so they develop a corporate social responsibility really high, and at the same time showing the bright, like colors already in such a kind of provocative way. You see, yeah, here you could see a PR campaign devoted to aid and trying to make connection always with the colors, or some religious raise a provocative campaign concerning to religion, the same as at birth. So of course we have limited time, so here such type of campaigns which are a hype, it's a kind of hype, attracting attention for being provocative, at the same time hidden under global issues like problem with such type of campaign. But in fact, what this brand, clothes brand, can common with such deep issues like I told you about aid, yeah, religion? Nothing. In fact, nothing. It is only one way how to make the issue standardized, like global. It is one problem which is similar all over the world, and at the same time just use some ideas, like if it is colors like family, you could see family colors, and yeah, I suppose comfort at the same time. So this is a really bright example. Do I have some more questions or some more time, Ajar?
Yeah, we will have some questions from the students. So first of all, thank you.
Just 5 more minutes to and finish.
Yeah,
that's what.
It's okay. I understand because
so
you have
now
schedule.
This is what I was trying to explain about standardized and adaptive questions. However, no matter that you created a standardized PR campaign, you still should make some adaptation, no matter how unique it is. So those strategies which I told you and examples, they are pretty bright, but not obvious in all countries. So for example, it is obvious that it's not possible to to use such type of advertising in Saudi Arab. Yeah, for example, because concerning to cultural issues, it is totally not possible. And that's why the research before launching your PR campaign is totally important. But what to look at for making a PR, for making a research before launching a PR campaign? And there is a wonderful, excellent theory which provides 5 variables, 5 areas which you need to analyze and understand if it works or not. For example, if we take those example of Benetton company and we are thinking, for example, to launch in Saudi Arab. So what we will look at? Okay, economical, political system is pretty fine for this campaign, we can. Level of development is really high, we can. Culture, okay, so while analyzing a cultural issue, you will come to a conclusion that such provocative type of advertising will bring to a total loss and a total even I suppose a lot of money for in a way of fines. So in the way of variables, political, economic system, level of development, culture, it is clear. So let's extent of activism, what it is. It's not a little bit obvious. So it means how easy your stakeholders, your target audience is involved in any activities. Yeah, in any activities. For example, in Brazil, the level of extent of activism is really high. So that's why they always organize carnivals. A lot of people always go outside, always try to be involved in any issue. So they are very easygoing. However, in Russia, the extent of activism is not so high. And to involve the participant to a crowd or a big group of people is not that easy. So that's why for developing PR campaign, you pay attention to it. What to organize for promoting your organized carnival or make it like personal with less people. Yeah, and the media systems. Media systems, of course, you pay attention to freedom of this media, how easy you can contact with it. But media system nowadays is totally changing due to a total digitalization. And for example, if we talk about famous like TikTokers who are nowadays, like in Russia, they are not in TikTok only today. They were just several years ago, a couple years even ago. And since this digitalization was not so strong, they were not so popular. But with the coronavirus, I can see, I'm not in Russia right now, but I can see that even celebrities are addressing to them for just increasing the number of fans. Yeah, so this is actually in short what I wanted to say, but I also wrote here that culture in fact is a really complex issue. And when you think, okay, culture, it is really not touchable. You cannot understand what exactly look at the culture for your PR issues. You don't want to be an expert in real religion and culture. You need only some issues for understanding what is possible and what is impossible to do in that country. And I will give you one more example. It is example of case study Yekaterinburg, and the issue of culture was really bright on this PR case. Yekaterinburg, it's a city in Russia, where I am from, decided to promote this city worldwide to attract more international tourists to the city. And they started to develop the content, like PR, the main content, why international tourists should come to this city. So thinking too much, they identified that some historical issues could be that branded idea. And the main issue is that in Yekaterinburg, the Tsar, so if you know that Russia previously had a monarch system when we had a Tsar, then there was a revolution in 1918. Bolsheviks came to power and communism appeared in Russia. And in 1918, during revolution, Bolsheviks killed the last Tsar, and it happened in Yekaterinburg. So they killed Tsar, all his family and servants. And Yekaterinburg, like administration of Yekaterinburg, decided to use this historical fact to promote the city. So they built a special church. They spent huge amount of money on this idea. They built a church on the blood. So this is the place where the Tsar was killed. Then bodies of his and his family bodies were taken outside the city in a deep forest to avoid any supporters of their family. And finally that place was found, and outside the city there was built a complex with a church to each member. Here you could see this is children, Tsar's children, and they made this place holy. So spent a lot of money and started to promote it worldwide. So first of all, they invited 15 international journalists, made them tour around, and of course the main idea was that they will come back and make a lot of publications concerning to this city and historical roots. But in fact nobody, only one Italian journalist wrote a little article. All other journalists didn't write anything. So in this case, administration started to promote it by themselves, just attracting international students. However, the spread of international students still didn't happen. And during several years, all efforts were not successful. And only after that, the administration made the decision to make a research. Why? And the main focus was Asian part, so attracting Asian people. So since the image of Russia there is not so bad as in Europe or America. And they understood just while making research that in Asia, it is not normal to kill the leader of the country, to kill the power. So they have a picture of the leader in every house, in every school, and even in university. Coming to university, first of all, they pray for the health of the leader of the country. And for them, it was, first of all, ununderstandable. The second, pushing away. And finally, such type of branding history was forming a negative image of the city. So, and only after a couple years after the research which have been done, they started to change the issue of the content of brand of the city, and developed a unique, a standardized issue, which was called constructivism. So they paid attention to architecture, and since Yekaterinburg had a lot of architecture concerning to constructivism style, they continue to develop it as a distinguished issue. And only after that, international students or international tourists started to visit the city more and more. So that's why it is so important to make a research, but based on not your ideas. For example, in Russia, since it participated in a lot of wars, we are pride. We always patriotism is developed, and we always try to pride the deaths and remember about it and tell that we still remember. So it is normal in a Russian consciousness, but it is absolutely not normal in other countries. So that's why identification should be connected to a total world. So you always should say what is the element can standardize all cultures. So here is in brief, just showing a couple more examples. So on this strategy, such brands as Apple was developed for innovation, design, and simplicity. You see also some unique issues concerning to any culture. Or Virginian Atlantic, it is for fun and glamour. And Disneyland for family entertainment. So they are loggers. Okay, so any questions?
Yeah, we will not spare you untouched and ask questions. So first of all, thank you very much for reminding me such a beautiful city, Katerinburg, and PR campaign regarding promoting of this city, because I was also one of them who tried their best to promote, especially in the era of FIFA World Cup 2018. So thank you, Olichka, for this wonderful briefing and lecture over public relations campaign. Hope
I'm
because
sorry
still,
for interruption. And did you see my presentation?
yeah.
Okay, because now it's disappeared. I thought maybe.
I stopped it. Screen sharing from your side, but because this is a question answer session, so that's why.
Yeah.
Because in Pakistan, we are still trying our best to promote our country in different cities as a tourist spots in Pakistan. So learning from your side, like an international expert of public relations, it's a very good opportunity for us. And now many of the students are ready to throw some questions. So I would like to take one by one. First of all, Fatma Sohail wants to ask a question. Fatma.
Hi, ma'am. I wanted to ask that how is it possible to strengthen media relations without spending money in a developing country like Pakistan?
As I told you, online, only online attracting. So it should be any social issue nowadays. This tool is exactly used for minimizing spending. So it could be any social issue, and contacting with influencers who are also actually just could be engaged in any social raising questions, because it is a way of attracting your target audience. For example, nowadays in Facebook, there was such type of campaign. Probably you saw a lot of dyed whales on the borders, on the banks of the sea or ocean. And there was two ways to use it. In one, of course, they raised the issue that we should clean our nature from plastic. Yeah, it's like a plastic issue. But at the same time, a lot of companies, organizations, or celebrities kept using this issue to increase their own publicity. So they are engaged, they are participating. Actually, they did nothing for improving this situation, but they used such type of tools for minimizing their spendings.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing, how can we make sure that the message of our PR campaign doesn't get lost? Just like you have talked about the ice bucket challenge.
Well, first of all, you should understand that no matter if your message is lost, you are PR manager and you are interested in publicity. Your main aim is attracting target audience. And still, it will be involved, and especially nowadays with social media, they all subscribe on your account. So no matter if they didn't understand the message clearly, they are still your clients. And another issue, how still keep the message. Why Ice Bucket Challenge finally the messages disappeared? Because it was called Ice Bucket Challenge. No message concerning to the issue. So that's why when you are calling any PR campaign, just put the main issue in the name.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next one is Mahnur Khalid. She wants to ask another.
Hello, ma'am. I
Hello.
actually have questions. What is the most important skill for a PR student to learn before working in practical field? And the other question is, what if we launch a campaign and it becomes famous, like you have discussed about the ice bucket challenge, or it many views, but the meaning of it get lost? So then it's a successful one or a failed one. That's it.
So concerning to the message got lost. As I have already mentioned, your main issue is raise publicity. And you should always understand that if your campaign is successful and you raise publicity and they are subscribed, because you always in your PR campaign should fix your target audience somewhere. It should be site, your any account in Facebook, you see? So no matter if the message is blurred, they stuck somewhere, so they are fixed. Yeah, and then you just can make for this target audience who can make additional campaign telling what you are, for example, about. For example, in the situation with Ice Bucket Challenge, those people who participated, they left steps online, so they marked, and that's why you as an organization which launched this campaign see who participated, and you can directly send the message. If like in Thailand people used it like fun, you as an organizer of this campaign could just send additional message clearing up the situation. Yeah, so it means this is how you can improve the PR campaign when it is running, when you see that it is successful but the message is losing. On the way to avoid this problem, as I already mentioned, use it in the name of your campaign, just title. The title should definitely have your purpose, at least the name of your association. And concerning to skills, digitalized skills. Nowadays, video, it is a spread, but I think it is only the beginning of spread of video. And by 2025, almost 90% of content will be videos. So I suppose you need to know how, not I suppose, even I nowadays pay a lot of time to develop this skill better and better, to see all those tricks, all, you know, all those recording issues. And I suppose video makers, content makers, like I told you about examples of Benetton and Red Bull creativity, you see, like show colors, but already in another provocative way. So 3 issues: great knowledge in digitalization, improve all the time your video skill development and creativity. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Muniza Hamad is the next participant who will ask the question. Muniza.
Hi. First of all, thank you so much for this fruitful session, and thank you for taking out time for us. My question is, like, when we're launching an international PR campaign or as a PRO, if we face a certain social media crisis, then how do you suggest we handle it?
Yeah, this is very good very good question, because on the one hand, the internet is really wide, and it is a really good opportunity to spread your PR company. And but on the other hand, you cannot control how your PR campaign will go, positively and negatively. You should always keep in touch on analyzing the feedback. For example, I know the example of one campaign concerning two shoes. They launched international PR campaign with some images of shoes in a country where this image had a negative issue. And they uploaded video, and soon they started to get negative comments, like in 2 or 10 minutes. Of course, the reaction at the beginning is stronger than later. And they caught this negativism, deleted this video at once, made the correction of those image and uploaded it again. So they totally avoided the negative trend. And as soon as they deleted that element, it was positively accepted further, and comments were. So that's why as soon as you launch PR campaign, you need every 5 minutes, especially at the beginning, keep watching the reaction of target audience. And as soon as you see that it is negative at the beginning, if it is negative, it will be negative. Just delete it and make correction.
Umna Iftikhar, please. Umna Iftikhar will be asking the next question. We have very short time of the question answer session, but we will try our best to take maximum question. Umna Iftikhar, please ask your question.
Hello, ma'am. My question is, how can we run a successful PR campaign even if we have low budget?
I told you, online, social, try to use corporate social responsibility, a unique problem in all countries. Raise the issue, just all social issues, and attract influence of that country in this issue. The only tool. Do you understand? Just some more questions?
Momina Akil. Momina, please.
Hi. I have a question that why do we see hurry in establishing good PR departments and running successful PR campaigns in today's world? It was not the same 10, 15 years back. So why do we see it?
Can you repeat once more? It was not clear for me.
Yeah. Why do we see hurry in establishing good PR departments and running successful PR campaigns in today's world? Because it was not the same 10, 15 years back.
Yeah, but what's the question? I didn't understand the question.
Yeah, it's the question. Why do we see hurry in establishing good PR departments?
But it's the same. You need to establish a PR department every year. Now, later. The only change is that the concentration on digitalization nowadays, because traditional tools such as booklets, billboards, TV advertising are already don't have the same value as it were previously. And the person who is PR nowadays is just, you don't need to know only PR. You should be absolutely skilled person in digitalization. So because even I nowadays develop my own project connected to international internships, and I started to test. I started to write articles and it was readable about 10 or 12 people. But when I made video with the same content, totally the same content, I had thousands of views. So now I am always away from just writing an articles, and only creative content works nowadays.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Olga, I'm sorry I'm taking too much time because students are enjoying to interact with you and everybody wants to ask them questions. So we will not take more than 2 or 3 more questions, but do allow me to.
I have time, sure, I have time.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Mason Javed wants to throw another question. Mason, please.
Hello, ma'am. At first, thank you so much for this insightful session. So my question actually pertains to analyzing the PR campaign. That is there any apt tool by using which we can analyze the success or failure of a campaign? Is there any tool?
Yeah, sure. It is theory. Only theory can help you identify. Unfortunately, I had limited time, but on my practice, to identify successful or unsuccessful PR campaign in other countries, because of course to understand other country culture, all issues, peculiarities, for us it's absolutely not possible, and to spend a lot of money for the company there, it's not also nowadays very useful. There is such theoretical approach which is called circuit of culture. At least for me, the circuit of culture is the best work, which provides like dimensions, and you analyze these dimensions of the country can understand what was good and what was bad. Unfortunately, all understanding. So when I just started to study PR, I thought, oh, come on, who this theory needs? It is so boring. But after facing mistakes, after facing challenges, and thinking how to understand them, just I came back to theory, started to learn theory, trying to apply this theory to practice, and clearly understand what are mistakes, what issues, and how to develop your skill further. Yeah, and for international issues, I suppose the theory circuit of culture is a wonderful model which can help you to identify positive and negative sides.
Okay, Rubab is waiting for a long time to ask another question. Rubab.
Yes, sir. Actually, ma'am, I wanted to ask about.
I don't hear you. Sorry, don't hear you.
Sorry, ma'am.
Rubab, can you repeat your question? Please.
Yeah, once more, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to ask, there's this company, Ecosia. It's a search engine, and they just, but their purpose is not to gain profit, but to build like better nation, better country. Like their profit goes to plant more trees and to make the world like a more equal, like globally a better place. But they're competing with Google. They don't have that much profit. They don't gain that much profit. So if they are to run any campaign, what would be the best way to promote their search engine? I mean, they don't earn that much profit from that, but it's an open company. So
yeah. By the way, this is the great type of campaign, like which can do it international, because they are not searching for profit. They raise some social issues, and it is easy to make international PR campaign. They just need to make partnership with Google. They don't need to compete with anybody. And you as a PR manager, of course, as soon as you see the competitor, try to make the partnership with this person. For example, you could see a lot of advertising, which is called, especially with automobile like BMW and Audi, they developed campaign like Fight, which is called Fight, but in fact it is a partnership. So they developed like one, so I didn't prepare it for now, like one message to, for example, BMW prepared one message to Audi, and Audi reply for this message, like some throwing, you know, a challenge from one to another. The target audience is totally attracted to it. So it is interesting. Oh, there is a fight. Come on, let's look at. But in fact, it is a partnership of two companies which are interested to attract publicity, to attract attention. And in the situation which you ask, they just have a social issue. They are not interested in profits, and just build partnership is the great international PR tool for such type of company.
Well, next question is coming from Muhammad Ahmad Khan. Please quickly.
Hello, ma'am.
Because we have very short.
First of all, and my question is this: what are the challenges of international PR faced by culture?
Oh, a lot. Depends on how strong is the culture you are going to be promoted. Of course, to launch a PR campaign in Saudi Arab would be not so easy. Whereas for the countries like Europe or America, it's much easier because they have less limits, like freedom is in everything, in the world, in freedom of media, the freedom of word, the freedom of. So there is Hofstede who provided again some dimensions which make a characteristic of the culture, which is very useful for PR manager. So here, and you can follow, he even has his approach even has a site. He identified 4 categories like masculinum, femininum, power of distance, and others. And you just can look at the level, there is a number, and you can look at a level of this issue, of this dimension, and understand how strong is the country. It is called Hofstede. Hofstede is the author, yeah, and his dimensions. And it will help you when you are creating PR campaign to understand your opposite culture. For example, the level of power distance in Russia is really high. It means you cannot come to a top manager or any politician if you are not a director. So you as a manager should come to a director, and your director should come to a politician. So, you know, not direct to a high position. So this is the example of high level of power distance between. But in America, for example, I, as a Russian, was really shocked when the main ambassador in America came to me and said, "Oh, hi, Olga, how are you? So it's nice to see you. I like your culture." And I was really shocked how such a high top person can come to me, a simple manager, you know, and they have a very little level of power distance. For them, it is normal to communicate. So that's why those hosted dimensions is very useful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for good questions. We have to move towards the last question before I tell you that Dr. Aslam Dogar, who was the chief guest, who was the guest of honor of this session, he has joined us. So let me introduce him. He's our teacher. He's the senior most practitioner, PR expert. He's currently working as a director of Alhambra Arts Council of Pakistan. He has been working as an executive director of DGPR, Directorate General Public Relations of the province Punjab, Pakistan. So Dr. Aslam Saab is with us. So before coming to words, Dr. Aslam Saab for his feedback to participate in this amazing session, I would like to ask the last question towards Mohibul Hassan. And I'm sorry for the other participants who could not be able to ask questions. So last question, and then we will move forward towards Dr. Aslam Dogal. Mohibul Hassan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azhar. Thank you very much, Olga. It was a quite informative session. So thank you very much for that. I have a quick question. PR campaign and propaganda campaign, how different are their fundamentals, or they have the same fundamentals? And if they have the same fundamentals, why are some countries very good at it and some countries are not at all? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very good question. So probably you noticed that I didn't tell anything about politics, because of course propaganda, it is a kind of political issue which it's difficult to control by any PR manager. And of course, it is also a cultural shadow too. For example, in America, there are a lot of those political issues which are hidden in some propaganda, but mainly advertising. I see propaganda is mainly connected with politics. And of course, in a situation like, for example, vaccination process, like Russia develops Sputnik, and no matter how strong you as a PR manager international, and you are trying to promote the brand of Sputnik, like the image that it is very positive, it is actually also a social issue, because you are fighting for the deaths, but it is still a political issue, and it takes time. It is propaganda, and of course it takes time, and now even Europe is buying this Sputnik. Difficult to say what's the difference, because I think the sphere, it's mainly connected with the sphere. If it is political issue, it is everything propaganda. I see, I had internship in different countries, and I see that all political issues, political PR is absent. Only propaganda is everywhere, and propaganda concerning two countries. So that's why can't say anything about propaganda. Concerning to, for example, my PhD research here in Hungary, it is called fake news for promoting country brand. And I identified this issue analyzing PR campaign of Donald Trump, President of America, and João Bolsonaro, President of Brazil, because both of them had identical, very successful PR campaign, but absolutely strange, because even Jair Bolsonaro, he appeared close to the start of election. He didn't have any time, but the spread in social media was so strong that he won. And fake news nowadays is that instrument, which I suppose absolutely soon will be an instrument in all spheres. So, and now in the world, propaganda with fake news is the tool how to make that image of a country, of a politician, as you want. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olga. Now it's time to conclude. Actually, I'm very grateful because we asked just 1 hour, and it is almost 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete this amazing lecture, because the students were enjoying an interaction with you. Now we have our esteemed guest of honor of today's session, Dr. Aslam Dogar. He will share something with us, and he would like to conclude because many of the faculty members and many of the teachers who are attending this session, not only from University of Management and Technology, from some other university of the market in Lahore, in Pakistan, he is teacher of them. So we have been learning a lot of, especially from the public relations sphere, from Dr. Aslam. So I would invite him to say a few words about this session and PR. Dr. Saab, please.
Thank you, dear. Thank you for giving me the opportunity and the great opportunity to listen a scholar from Russia regarding PR campaigns, PR activities. I also congratulate you people at Mass Comm department of UMT and how you people use this threat of Corona for online classes, and you disseminate a lot of knowledge through Zoom. This was really a new experience. This was a new challenge, but how UMT met this challenge, it's really appreciate. I will appreciate it a lot, and I appreciate that you people are going to make liaison with international community, international experts, and international peoples, and you are giving new opportunities, new ways of knowledge for your students, for the faculty members. I really appreciate it. For PR, advertising, and the media, for us, these all knowledges came from the English-speaking countries, especially from America, from Europe, and from England. But this is the first time I have a long experience, and a long time with this teaching and with this PR practices. But this is the first time that I got the opportunity and privilege to listen a scholar from Russia. And first time I came to know that we should learn from them. We should learn the knowledge which is available in Russia. Russia was a superpower and is a superpower and going to be a superpower. And we should learn them. We should take advantage with their knowledge and with their experiences and with their expertise. And I'm really thankful, personally thankful, that you people have given me the opportunity to listen that wonderful lady, that wonderful scholar, who she has complete grasp on her field and knowledge, and she delivered it in a very effective way, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I hope that you will in future continue to provide such opportunities to students and all. And I will also request that you should give me the chance to participate in such lectures and such things. It's really great. It's really amazing. And I congratulate all you people for doing this wonderful job. And I hope that as threats always give opportunities, and UMT people, and especially Mass Comm department of the UMT, is using this threat of Corona to create new opportunities for the knowledge of its students and faculty. That's really wonderful. I congratulate you all people for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Your compliments and your concluding remarks are really mean a lot for us. And thank you for your participation. Now, I would like to request my senior colleague at School of Media and Communication Studies, Moazzam Ali Khan. Mr. Moazzam Ali Khan would like to few words, thanks notes to Olga Novoselova and Dr. Aslam. Moazzam Ali Khan, please.
Thank you very much, Azhar. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, and especially our scholar from Russia. I was just, making my words after Dr. Aslam, and from the scholarly thoughts which were shared by our friend from Russia. I mean, we are really pleased, we are really impressed, and I share the same thoughts. We've been listening scholars from the Europe and from America all over in our time of studies, and when we were after our studies as well. We're just amazed to know. I mean, this was a gap, because the neighbors, they're just close to our neighbors, Russians. They have such scholarly skills and they have such good PR skills. We must learn from them, not only in this field, but in the other fields of education. And what a way they have adopted. Just look at the PR campaign of Sputnik. I mean, the way Russian president combined it with the success of the Kalashnikov. I mean, this single sentence made the Sputnik success more successful. So it was really amazing, Azhar Saab, it was really amazing. And I'm sharing the same views as Dr. Aslam, my teacher, that it is the first time we are listening this type of content from our Russian friends. And we will like to thank you once again. It was very comprehensive and you were very humble. You was very well composed and you deliver it very well. We learn it a lot and we want to continue it in the future. Thank you very much from our side.
Thank you. Thank you very much for compliments.
All those participants who were here from University of Management and Technology and from some other universities, thank you very much for your active participation. And I once again thank to Olga Novoselova and Dr. Aslam Saab. Thank you very much. And see you again, inshallah, very soon. We would like to invite Olga Novoselova in some other interactive session. So thank you very much.